Oh. Okay. Some people actually do watch the recordings or listen to them on Spotify or on YouTube. So I like to put it there. I occasionally hear people. Okay. So I'm glad to be back here, Baruch Hashem, with the weekly share, Halacha and Chassidus. And as always, there's just too much interesting stuff. I just can't fit it all. And I always have a goal of trying to fit it on one piece of paper. It doesn't always work. So I took out a bunch of stuff to try to fit it. And that's not discrimination. There's just not enough space. There's not enough time. I was discussing with Avi before. Maybe we should make this year on Wednesday nights just halacha, and we can really get into something a little bit more. I don't know, but I like Chassidus. Other people like Chassidus, so I don't really know what the right thing to do. But in the meantime, we're going to try to do half an hour halacha and half an hour Chassidus. That's what we're going to try to do, God willing. So the topic is as follows for tonight: blowing in the wind 90 times on repeat. That is the topic for tonight. What does that mean? Well, we know that just a week or so ago on Shmini Atzeres, we had the special tefillah of Tefillas HaGeshem, where we did a whole fancy thing. I think the Chasam here in Chabad wasn't really so great. That was me. But, and then we started saying Mashiv, HaRuach, HaGeshem. The question is, what happens if you forget to say it? Or more accurately, if you just say whatever you're used to saying instead, before you switch, what happens? That's the basic topic. We're going to get into it. Let's first take a look at Halacha Hey in the Shulchan Aruch, Siman Kuf Yudal. And that Halacha says as follows, that it actually depends what to do depending on what nusach you daven, what type of sitter you have. What do I mean? So Halacha Hey says, HaGeshem in the winter season, that is now. If you don't say the words Moirid HaGeshem, notice he left off Mashiv HaRuach. He left off the wind blowing. We're going to maybe talk about that maybe if we have time. But if you didn't say the words Moirid HaGeshem, that God causes the rain to fall, we tell him to go back. If he asks the rabbi, hey, what do? I forgot to say Moirid HaGeshem. What does the rabbi say? Repeat. To go back and repeat the Shema Yisrael. Person has to say that even if he's not a rabbi, if he just knows the halacha. However, said the Shulchan Aruch, V'hani milei, these words are, meaning, he's giving a caveat. He's saying that we tell him to repeat, provided that, or in a situation when, shaloi hizkir tal, if he didn't mention tal. So in Nusach Svard, or Nusach Arizal, which is basically Nusach Svard, or maybe it's vice versa, Svard is Nusach Arizal, depends what you ask. We say Moirid Hatol all summer. So if I mistakenly, because I'm used to saying Moirid Hatol for all those months, and I don't say Mashiv HaRuach Moirid HaGeshem, and I say Moirid Hatol, no problem. I don't have to repeat. So who would have to repeat? Someone who davens Nusach Ashkenaz. I don't daven Nusach Ashkenaz, and I didn't remember to look it up in the Ashkenaz Siddur, although we have some Ashkenaz Siddur here at the Ban House. Anybody here daven Nusach Ashkenaz?
Me do.
What do you say? I'm not trying to put you on the spot.
We say nothing.
Nothing. Oh, so say nothing. So if instead of saying Moirid HaGeshem, you are used to what you said all summer long and you said nothing, what happens? Repeat Shema Yisrael.
So why? Because both the Sfarad and the Ashkenaz are saying what they're accustomed to saying for the summer.
Correct.
So why would the Ashkenaz be penalized by having to repeat? But the Sfarad,
because he didn't mention Geshem. He didn't mention Geshem.
Neither did Sfarad. They say.
But he mentioned Tal and dew and rain are connected. They're both moisture, they're both water, they both come from Hashem. Rain comes in a different way. Rain is not a consistent. This is all based on a Gemara Masechta Tainis, which I took off the source sheet because I wanted to keep it on one piece of paper. But the Gemara says because a dew is something that's consistent. Tal loy me'atzer. Tal never stops. It's consistent. It's always there. So there's a svara, you don't need to mention it at all. Rain, you do need to mention because it's not always there. Nevertheless, they're both coming from Hashem. Whereas if you just said nothing, then you have to say something. So we'd ask you to repeat. Yeah, if you mention do, you don't make him repeat. Fine. Let's take a look in the Magen Avraham before we can get into the meat of this discussion for today. The Magen Avraham was born in 1635, Poland, died in 1682. We have read Magen Avraham together many, many times. There's also a long Magen Avraham shaykh to the sugya we're going to get into that I left off because again, there's just not enough time and space, but in any event, his name was Avram Abeli or Abeli. I don't know how to pronounce his second name. Avram Abeli, I think. Halevi. It was a Levi. Gombiner was his last name. Anyway, I heard once, I don't know if this is verified, that he was so poor he didn't have paper. And so he wrote on the walls of his house some of his chidushim. I don't know if that's true, but I heard such a thing. Anyway, even if it's not true, they don't say that about me. So the fact they say it about him, he Pashat wrote his chidush on the walls, whether it happened or not, apparently it was fitting to say such a thing about him. Anyway, he says as follows: Tal ein machzirin. If the person did say tal, meaning they daven musafsar, then ein machzirin. We don't make him repeat. You're gonna say, why not? What's the big deal with dew? There's dew every morning when I go outside, whether I ask for it or not. It's not like rain. Rain, we need a bracha for the rain. The farmers are waiting. When's it going to rain? I need the rain for my crops. Dew every morning. So, question. Even though it says in the Gemara Masechta Tainis that tal loy me'atzer, the dew never stops. The dew never stops. The morning dew keeps going. It's there every day. It's there every morning. So, what do you need to mention it for in your tefillah? It's coming whether you mention it or not. Okay. Nevertheless, and this addresses your question as well, the Magen Avraham. Mikol Mokai, even though seemingly there may not be a real necessity to mention tal, do, in prayer. Nevertheless, Zok the Magen Avraham, Mikol Mokim, Shevachu l'kadosh baruch v'azkarasei. You're praising Hashem by mentioning it because Hashem provides it. Hashem brings it. So by mentioning it, that gives a shevach, that gives a praise to the Eibishter, and that's already a good thing. So you mention it, Baruch Hashem. Masha'enkim b'shayla. Okay, that's Masha'enkim b'shayla was might as well say. Shayla means in the Baruch Aleinu, which we're not really talking about now, right? It's not really the topic for today. Baruch Aleinu is by Pesach when we switch. I'm sorry, by December. In December. Thank you. December 5th, 6th, the whole complicated discussion about that. Yeah. So by Shayla, as opposed to Hazkara, as opposed to mentioning versus opposed to Shayla is asking. Rain, we're going to ask for. You have to ask for something that may or may not be available, something that's not consistent. Okay, as we see later. Fine. So the point of the Magen Avraham here is that even though dew is anyway going to show up, nevertheless, by mentioning it in our tefillah, we're giving a shtickle praise to Hashem. So that's already good. Even if I didn't mention Geshem, you don't have to repeat. So comes out, there's a benefit in this regards to those who daven Nusach Sfarad. Now, here's getting into the topic that we want to talk about here. Now, we're fast forwarding in the Shulchan Aruch. Same Siman Kuf Yud Daled, Halacha Ches. B'mois Hachama, during the summer, even this topic, he's getting ready to HaGeshem. If you're not sure, maybe I mentioned HaGeshem in the summer when I'm not supposed to mention it, maybe not. Because you're just coming from Pesach, when we switched to either nothing for Ashkenaz or the Merid Hatol for Sfarad. And I'm used to saying Merid Hatol, I'm used to saying Mashiv Merid HaGeshem all winter long. And now all of a sudden it's the summer. And I'm not supposed to mention rain. And I don't know what I did. What did I do? I can't quite remember. He stopped it. He's unsure. What's the halacha? Ad shloishim yoim, 30 days from when you switched. The chezka shehiskir geshem. It's a chazaka. It's a presumption that you mention what you were used to mentioning, which is geshem, and therefore says the mechaber v'tzorich lachzer to repeat shmeiser. If you mention rain in the summer, that is it. If you're not sure what you said, what you did. If you for sure said Mashiv, or if you for sure mentioned the Geshem in the summer, then for sure you have to. Here the chiddush is of the Shulchan Aruch is that if you're not sure what you said, it's a suffix, you still have to repeat.
If it's within 30 days.
Yes, thank you. If it's within 30 days, there's a chazaka that you're saying whatever you used to say. After 30 days, and we're going to get into this 30 days discussion, that's really the topic for tonight. That's the hint is the 90 times. We're going to get to that, yeah.
So 90 times, but what if someone usually, for whatever reason, let's say doesn't go to Mincha?
Okay, that's a good question. We're going to talk about that later. It's a very good question.
Why is Chazak considered 30 days here when we have many other situations where Chazak is if you did free time?
That's a very good question also. Then that we're going to discuss with the Heitev Shulchan Aruch HaRav. We'll discuss that as well, if we have time. I don't have time for all these things. It's too interesting. Okay. Comes the Ramah, the Ashkenazi, as opposed to the Machabers, the Sephardi. The Ramah says, in the same halacha would apply with the Dan for us. Us means Ashkenaz. The Ein Maskirin Talbi Masachamo, right? That in Ashkenaz, the Ramah Poland didn't mention Tal in the summertime. So the same thing will go now if you're switching from summertime, which we just did Shmini Atzeres, and you're switching to Moed HaGeshem. And what were you saying all summer? Nothing. If you're unsure after Shmini Atzeres, if you're unsure, if you're unsure, did I say Geshem in the rainy season when I'm supposed to say it? What's the halacha? Says that I'm Kol Shloshim Yom for 30 days within Shmini Atzeres. We're in that period now. So you have to repeat Shema Nisrei. Why? Why have to repeat? Devadai Omar Kemoishe Rogil. This is really the answer to your question about the Chazak question. Devadai Omar Kemoishe Rogil. You for sure said what you usually say, meaning what you're accustomed to saying. Like my son Shmuel likes to say that saying Tillim is easy. Chabad says Tillim a lot. The times we said the whole Tillim was regular, many times. So it's easy. You just have to get your mouth to move. Whatever. So he's that kind of kid. Say things like that. Okay. That you for sure said Kemoshe Rogel. What you're accustomed, what your lips are accustomed to saying, or Moed Hatal, or nothing. You said what you're used to. You didn't mention not Tal because you didn't say it the whole summer, and you didn't mention Geshem, or at least you're unsure if you mentioned it. So therefore, you have to repeat. After 30 days, however, we assume now you got used. Your lips became accustomed to saying Moed HaGeshem, and therefore, if in February you're like, "Oh my gosh, did I say the right thing?" You said the right thing. You don't have to repeat. Yes.
That's if you finish one after you go back, or if you're like in the middle of it somewhere. You're like, oh, I don't know if I say it. You restart.
You need to go back also as well. It depends. We're not going to get into that discussion now, but if you've gone further, then you'd have to repeat. Yeah. But that's even that would expand our discussion even more so. And nowadays they have instructions in English in the Siddur as well. But let's see. Now, that's halacha ches. Halacha tes. If on the first day of Pesach, Birkas at the Gibor. You said from the Berurah of At the Gibor, Ad Moed Hatol, that's for talking about Nusach Svar, right? So now you're getting, and you say this, Tishim Pa'amim, 90 times. You're trying to get your lips used to saying Moed Hatol, Moed Hatol, Moed Hatol. You said it 90 times. Tishim Pa'amim. Why 90? Keneged Shloshim Yoim. Corresponding to the 30 days that we mentioned, you need 30 days. And that 30 days, 30 days, how many times do you have in a day? 3 times a day. 3 times 30, basic math is 90. It says the Mechaber, if you said it 90 times, 90, and so from that point on the first day of Pesach, you said it 90 times in a row. 90 times in a row. Then later, after that, now you're not sure what you said. Maybe I said the right thing. Maybe I said the wrong thing. I can't remember. We assume you didn't say what you used to say because you said it 90 times, and in saying it 90 times, your lips became accustomed to saying it, and therefore, if you're not sure what you said, not a problem. Chazaka, you said the right thing. So it's a manufactured chazaka, if you will. It's a forced chazaka. I was by L'chaim in Crown Heights the other on Sunday night, and I was speaking to a shlich from somewhere else, whatever, happened to be there. He told me he was by some Ashkenazi minyan on Simchas Torah, and they had a whole song. You guys know some song? He sang the song from Emerald. That's the song. 90 times. Yeah. So he told me he did it 100 times.
Whatever. In case you miscount.
No, so I said, was 100? Steht in Shulchan Aruch 90. So I asked him. I remembered the Shulchan Aruch. It says 90. So I said that if you tell me they sang the song and they said it 90 times, no, what's 100 times? You know, we're going to find out. We're going to find out 101 times. We're going to find out. Chasam Sofer. So that's the song.
Yeah.
Did you sing it?
I didn't sing it where I was.
Okay. So according,
I've been places where they sing it.
Yeah?
They don't go 100 times because it gets
did they do 90?
I don't think they do 90.
So what's the point?
Let's say you do 50, and then you do
What
50
is
on
now?
your own.
Okay. There's an opinion also.
After a couple weeks, you know you did your 100.
Okay. He brings, I don't remember if it's on the sheet or not. He brings, I don't think it's on the sheet. I don't remember who said it. That if you're the chazan in shul, you're the chazan kavua, and you daven every day from the Amud Shachars and Mincha. Do you still need 90 days? Do you still need to say 90 times? Do you still need 30 days? So I forget who it was. Says you don't need 30 days. Because the whole Indian is the chazaka of becoming accustomed to saying. So if you're the chazan, it means you daven for yourself, and you repeated Shema Nesrei for the Kehillah. Now I think it says in 18 days. I think it's a whole question. 18 days is already chazak.
Well, do you have to repeat if you're the chasam the silent Shema Esrei, knowing that you're going to then say it?
That's a good question. That's a good. Let's leave that for now. That's a good question. Let's leave that for now. Let's go further in the Shulchan Aruch. We want to always anchor to the Shulchan Aruch. Okay, so if you said it 90 times, corresponding to 30, then you're good. You're good to go. If you're unsure if you said the right thing or not, we assume halachically you said the right thing and you're good to go. Zok de Ramah Haga, and also for us means the Ashkenaz. If you say from Mechalkel Chaim the Baruch in the beginning of Shema, and you say it without Beloy Mashiv because now we're switching to this. He's talking about switching to the summertime, where Nusach Ashkenaz doesn't say Mashiv and it doesn't say Merid at all. Likewise, here's our case. Likewise, if on Shmini Atzeres you said Tishim Pa'amim Ata Gibor Ad Merid HaGeshem, you said it again. Now you said it. We don't have time to get into the whole discussion of what actually do you have to say. Some said you have to say the bracha 90 times, but people don't like the way it says the bracha. It's bracha l'atol. Okay, let's just assume you say Merid HaGeshem 90 times. Then im mistapik achar kach im izkiru oiloi chazaka shizkiru. So again, you're manufacturing a chazaka by merely repeating the correct words 90 times. So we see clear in Shulchan Aruch, you could either do 30 days, and after 30 days, if you're not sure if you said the right thing, you're good. Or you could repeat it 90 times, and then if you're not sure, even the next day, day 2, you're good to go. You don't need to repeat. Questions or comments? Okay. Oh, it is. It didn't. Look, I did it. It did. We can say about the shluch tzibur. But Yud Ches Yom Sagi, 18 days would be enough for the chazan. Okay, let's take a look at the Berurah. The Berurah Heitev was in Poland, died in 1743. There are 2 Berurah Heitevs. It's a Berurah Heitev on Orach Chaim and Yeridei, I think, are the same. Maybe I'm confusing it. And the Berurah Heitev on Mishna and Ezra are the same. In any event, we're learning the Berurah Heitev here on the Shulchan Aruch and Orach Chaim. So he says Shloshim Yom. Do you have another sheet? Is there another copy?
Yeah.
Oh. So he asked an obvious question. Shulchan Aruch says 30 days, right? And then the Shulchan Aruch gives you an eitzah. What's the eitzah? 90 times. Why 90 times?
30 days.
Right. How many times did they do that?
3.
What about the Shabbos?
More than 3.
Right. So what's 90? It's more than 90. So what's our how many did we get to? 90. Well, 90 would be 90 is 3 times 30, but now we're adding 4 Shabbosim.
Another 4.
It's 94. For Shloidish, 95, 96. Are we at 100 yet? No. Okay. No. Oh, so frek the Heitev, the B'Shabbos we say 4 times. And therefore, so therefore, in reality, we're saying more than 90 times within 30 days. So why does the Shulchan Aruch tell you you could say 90 times? If you think, say 94, 96, whatever it is. You understand the question? Why is it 90? He doesn't do math.
He figures someone's gonna sleep in it 3 times.
Oh, okay, take it. Not enough time. We're going to talk about that. The Taz discusses the Taz. The Alter Rebbe discussed it. It says the same thing is in Baruch Aleinu, but in the opposite direction. Baruch Aleinu, you say every day, but you don't say it on Shabbos. You should have less than 90 times. We're going to say less than 90 times. So make up your mind. Either say it more than 90 times or say it less than 90 times. The Harei b'Shabbos v'Yom ain't Shiloh. We don't say Baruch Aleinu on Shabbos v'Yom Tov. Lochein naktinan milsel mitzi also tzadik b'Amim. So therefore, he says they go and.
Also, figure the first 90 days also includes all Kol Night.
Oh,
So
okay.
they have extra ones there as well.
Okay.
Every day you're doing.
Okay. So the Darkei Moshe, who's the Ramah, says it just time you go according to basic math.
Well, doesn't it include Shmini Tzav?
Shmini Atzeret does not include Kol
Oh,
Night.
right, yeah.
Pesach would. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going according to the. We're not being mathematically precise per se. We're being
Typical day is 3.
Yeah. That's the exact way to put it. A typical day is 3. Therefore, 3 times 30 is 90. We don't. Not everything has to be mathematically precise. Yeah. And he brings the Chen Kos for Ramah b'Tshuvosai. He says Ramah and elsewhere. Okay.
But is it emphasizing the 30 days or emphasizing the 90?
That's a good question.
Because 30 days is 30 days. It would be a time thing. You're doing a certain amount of time, not necessarily a certain amount of repeats.
The goal here seems to be, if I understand correctly, which the Alter Rebbe is really going to spell out, I think, more clearly. Alter Rebbe in Shulchan Aruch HaRav is going to say it has to go out after Hergel L'Shon, after what you're accustomed to saying. So it's a good question. There's a lot to discuss here. Let's get into, okay, this brings us to the next thing. What's taka this svara? You can just go back to back to back to back. Like, what are we playing games? What are we doing?
Like that song.
Right. What's the svara there? Shulchan Aruch says do it 30 days. I understand 30 days. So 30 days is a meshech zman. It's a period of time. I had time to eat day after day after day, 90 times in a row. Who are we kidding? Does that actually work? Maybe it works. The Shulchan Aruch says to do it. Clearly, we saw Shulchan Aruch says you could do it. What's the svara? So there's a long Magen Avraham, there's a long Taz, and we're running out of time, eh? How do we do this? So the Gemara says in Bava Kama, fairly well-known Mishna, many people are familiar with, the concept of a shor tam and a shor muah, an ox that is docile and an ox that is a goring ox, a muad. So how does an ox become categorized as a shor muad? Oh, of course, 3 times. 3 times when? 3 times in a row? 3 times 3 different days? Hear the question?
Yeah.
Oh, machlekes, right? That's always the answer, right? Machlekes. So Zak the Gemara. Amar of Meir, Richek the Gichoisov, Chayev. That if the negich of the goring is richek, is distance across 3 separate days, then it becomes chayev, becomes a shormua. Kirev negichoisov like kol shechen. So all the more so if they're squished together. If they're one after the other, that shows you the ox is a dangerous ox. He gored 3 times right in a row. So you say, how is that proof? Gemara says, Omer loy, they said to the mayor, Zava techiach. The halachas of a zava, a woman who saw some type of discharge from her body, who becomes tameya. There's zava katana, zava gedola. Zava gedola requires 3 instances of some type of discharge from the woman's body. So he says, Zava techiach. If she has these discharges on 3 separate days, consecutive days they have to be, then she's Tameya, she's a Zava Gedola. And all the halachas of Zava Gedola would apply to her. Just the way to count 7 days and go to the mikvah, carbon, all that stuff. However, if she has these discharges, boom, 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 one after the other in the same day, tahira. She's not a Zava Gedolah, she's a Katana, but it's not a Zava Gedolah. So that shows you that just because something happens 3 times in a row doesn't mean anything. So but just because an ox gored 3 times in a row, it's gornished. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean it's a muad. It has to be separate days. You follow?
He's having a bad day.
He's having a bad day. Exactly, having a bad day. But tomorrow, it's going to be good tomorrow. Okay, so the Gemara is on and say, no, the Zava is really because there's a limud from the Pasuk in Zava, which we don't have by Shor Nogach. Okay. So let's take a look at the Chasam Sofer on the next page, source number 5. Chasam Sofer was Moshe Schreiber. I think we only had it once this year before. 1762 to 1839. He was born in Frankfurt, Germany, but then he became famous in the Rav of Pressburg, which is now Bratislava, Slovakia. My son last year was in yeshiva with one of the boys who was a shliach in Bratislava, Slovakia. And I went to the oils of Chastera, and there he was. Anyway, Tishim Pa'amim. So it goes like this. Ayin b'Teshuvas Chasam Sofer or Chaim Smachav. Go look at the Teshuvas Chasam Sofer, and he's going to quote it. It says as follows. Shom Nemar to be Shalmi Isa. The Shalmi it says Reish Perekam the Tainis. I mean, Palal if you daven ve'eni yedem ma hiskim. You're not sure what you said. You say Geshem, you say Tal. You know what you said. So Amar b'Yochanan Kol Shon Shemichazok ma shehu lomud umaskir. When Yochanan says it's chazak, whatever you're accustomed to saying, that's what you said. So you'd have to repeat if need be. Because of Gois Ma'amonius b'Shem Meir Rottenberg Shaarei Shelo Yachzer ala Sofek. If you want to make sure, if you want to keep yourself away from a Sofek of being unsure, what did you say? Yomar kol kach per omin. Interesting, right? He should say such and such the number of times. Ata gibar mechalkel chaim kemoi sheyesh b'shloishim yoyim. You should say the number of times that you would have said in 30 days. It doesn't say 90. Maybe he means 94, 97. The loy cause of tzaddik pa'amim. It doesn't say 90 specifically. Mishum the Yeshlemet, the Div Reb Yochanan benuim al maimer shas b'chagiga. Why? Because Reb Yochanan is basing himself on another statement in the Gemara. What's the other statement in the Gemara? In Chagiga, it says, you cannot compare a person who chazers the Sugya Gemara 100 times to the guy who chazer 101 times. Let's get to 101. 100, I don't know. This person I spoke to said they sing the song 100 times. Let's get to 101. Let's make a cheshbon over here. Okay, so 1 second. Skip to second last line at the end. How do you get to 101? In 30 days, yesh shom tzadik tfilos. Shachris min chava. That we know, right? 3 times 30 is 90. So we're starting at 90. Say mehen base. Now he's going really not from Mashiv Berurah. He's going from Pesach either to nothing for Ashkenaz or to Murder Hatol for Sfard. Now take away say mehen base of Arvis v'Shachris shel echad the Pesach because Ma'ariv the night of the Seder you're not saying it because you didn't switch it. Shachris you didn't switch it either. So take away 2. So we're left with 88. The Inmas Kinboy Elam Mosavei HaRav Hevele Pechespam. Right? You follow the Chesman so far? Started at 90. We subtracted 2 because of Ma'ariv on the first night of Pesach and Shachris when you don't say it yet. So therefore 88. Now add the Ches Musofin. The Ches Musofin Dimei Pesach. Now you said Musaf 8 times in Pesach. V'oid Gimel Musaf Shel Gimel Shabbosis. Now so you're adding 8 times for the Musaf of Pesach. Then you're adding V'oid Gimel Musaf Shel Gimel Shabbosis. You're adding another 3 times for the 3 times you're down Musaf on Shabbos. Who base Tfilas Musaf, the base Yomim, Rosh Chodesh Iyar. Add in now Iyar, Rosh Chodesh Iyar, we say Musaf as well. Heavy Le Yud Gimel. That's 13 extra times. 13 plus 88, the Tzid of him Peiches Hanal, Oila, Kuf Aleph Tfilas, 101. Uvatur cost of Tzadik Pom, the Tur writes 90. Go look at the Magen. Avraham says, okay. Here's the pièce de résistance of the Chasam Sofer. V'chein ani moida. This is how I pass it. To say it 101 times. Uba l'chatchila la'oimra kuf aleph pa'amim. I pass in l'chatchila. You should say it 101 times because of this tashbih. However, omna misha amar rak tzadik pa'amim. If you only said it 90, you didn't listen to my advice and say it 101 times, said it only 90. And now, now you come to me and you say, hey, Rabbi, I can't remember if I said it or not. Then how does the Chasam Sofer pass it? So then he says, okay, you can rely on the Shulchan Aruch. I can't pass it against the Shulchan. Can't pass it against the Gemara. So if you said it 90 times, you're okay. Chasam Sofer. Mishna Berurah is an important halacha, but I want to add in here. Everything from the Mishnah is important, of course. In Berurah, but this is addressing perhaps people with OCD, by the way, unofficially. But in Berurah, you are positive that when you set out and you took 3 steps back to Dam and Shveinase, you for sure knew it's Hanukkah, it's Rosh Chodesh, it's Mashiv HaRuach, whatever you want to say. I'm going to say it. And then you take 3 steps back and... did I say it? Maybe a little bit OCD, I don't know. Well, the Ach is man muflog. He says a longer period. It doesn't mean right away, by the way. It's man muflog, a period of time. Not like I said, not right away when you step back. Now he said, what was I? Did I talk and mention it? I don't remember. What did I do? I don't remember. What should I do? So says the Mishnah Berurah, Ein tzorich lachzer. Go on with your life. You don't need to repeat. However, it's important to know. However, if immediately as you took your 3 steps back, then you're not sure, then you have to repeat. But if, 10 minutes later, I'm not sure what's considered a long period of time, but
that's even day 1? It's specifically 90 days also.
I don't have the Mishnah Berurah in front of me to see where the Lam Bechezka is here. I don't know. He's going on the Shulchan Aruch, which is 30 days. That's what he's going on. I don't know. It's a good question. Anyway, the Alter Rebbe says, "Hamispala on the Shulchan Aruch. Hamispala b'nei Yudeim hizkir HaGeshem ilav." Now you don't know that I mentioned Geshem or not. Ad shloshim yoyim chazaka mahu lomud umaski. Chazak up to 30 days that you're going to say whatever you used to say. From that point on, you do the right thing. You mention whatever you need to. Okay. Let's skip a little bit just for time.
Does it help you say one or the other? Meaning, let's say you said you're supposed to say a tall, and you said Russian or Gosh. Yeah, can you repeat it because you said the wrong one?
Yeah, it depends what you said.
Or vice versa.
It depends what you said. That was the Shulchan Aruch of Hey.
Depends
what you said and what nusach is about.
Right, so if you're saying the dams of swag, you always say Murray at all.
Then you're fine.
Then you finally say Murray at all.
As long as it's Murray at all, because that is considered, the Magen Avraham says that's considered praise of Hashem. So if you didn't say Mashiv HaRuach HaGeshem, but you said Murray at all, not a problem.
So you never have to worry.
Right.
You can always say, okay, I said it.
So I should have this result. Okay. Let's look quickly. Not so quick. The Alter Rebbe, the Kitzur, we're not going to read the Alter Rebbe inside right now because of the sake of time. But the Alter Rebbe raises the question that was mentioned before: what if you missed the tefillah or 2? So you don't have 90 times in your 30 days. Forget the saying 90 times right away. You don't have 90 times within your 30 days because you missed that tefillah or 2. Even you're negligent or whatever, for whatever reason. So the Alter Rebbe paskins, like I think it's the Pri Megadim and the Taz, I believe as well, that it's okay. That doesn't take away from the chazaka of 30 days. You missed a tefillah or 2? No. That doesn't detract from the chazaka. That's one thing. And also the last thing to read in Alter Rebbe is he discusses in Halacha Yud Aleph the 90 times, saying it 90 times. And in the parentheses at the end, some people don't like this, repeating it 90 times right away. Best is not to rely on such a thing. Okay, but if you did it, and then that's for the Shulchan Paskins. So if you did the 90 times trick or the 100 or the 101 times trick or whatever trick you're doing, if you did it, the Alter Rebbe says you shouldn't do it. But if you did it, and now you come to me and ask me, Rabbi, I'm not sure what I said. Okay. Came Ikir says that's the Halacha Shulchan Aruch is that it works.
But he didn't say why. Why not?
That's a good question. That's a good
I mean, it
question.
goes back to what Lou was asking, doesn't it? Like,
But
is it really like the 30 days part of
It
it?
has to do with regilus, with what are you accustomed to. In fact, there was another source, I didn't put it on the source sheet. It was the Eshel Avraham, the B'Chachirov, I think, that if you did the 90 times thing, but then 3 days later, you're saying what you used to say, that's a proof that it didn't work. Does that make any sense? The proof didn't work. Because we're trying to accustom ourselves to saying the new thing. So those who just don't like this approach is because they say that just repeating it quickly one after the other is like an ox that gores 3 times in a row in the same day. That doesn't mean that it has a status of, it doesn't mean it has a new status. So just because you said something 90 times doesn't mean now that's what you say. It means you said something 90 times, but there's a measure of time that it requires to really get used to saying something. So therefore, l'chatchila, you should do it over 30 days. One last point that I have to point in, even though it's very late already, is the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, Shlomo Gansfried. Some people think, Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, okay.
Because they used to Hamachachim.
Yeah, they think, no, it's a Kitzur. That's like for like women and children, right? No. Shlomo Gansfried doesn't need us to say how great he was. First of all, interestingly, he wrote other Svarim as well, by the way. This Surah Lechem B'Simla Nechas Nida, well-known Sefer Nechas Nida. He has a Sefer on Safros, Kesses Sofer, and the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch itself is unbelievable. It's a Kitzur, but it's so. Let's take a look. What does he say about this question? It's in Siman Yud Tes. He was born in 1804, died 1886. If you're unsure, did I say Mashiv or not? What do? If it's already 30 days have already passed, which means you already davened 90 times as you're meant to, because 30 times 3 is 90. So the chazak is shagam atis bal kehergil shaloi karoi. So you have a chazaka that you also now that you're unsure, you daven to kehergil, what you're accustomed to davening, which is the correct thing because you did it for 30 days already. But within 30 days, so to repeat, that you already davened 90 times properly. We stand you on your chazaka. You did the right thing. But if it's before 30 days, you have to repeat. What do you see from the Kitzur here? What does he say about saying it 90 times?
It says you have to do it continuously after.
What does he say about saying it 90 times in a row? What does he say about it? Do you see what he says about it?
Yeah, he says it is.
That's just what's going to end up happening. It's just going to end up happening to be 90. It's not that you're supposed to do 90 right there.
Shulchan Aruch said to daven 30 days, right? Then the Shulchan Aruch said, or say it 90 times. What does Shlomo Gansfried say? What does the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch say?
It's followed.
No. So what does he say about the Eitzah to say 90 times in a row? Nothing. He doesn't say anything about it.
But couldn't you infer? That?
Yes, he doesn't say it because he doesn't. I mean, I think he doesn't hold of it.
No, but he's
that's why he leaves it out.
Right? No, but he says I will still Shloshim Yom and Sarah. So he makes it seem, at least the way I was understanding, that it is specific to the days.
Correct.
Right. So anything less than 30 days, you can say 5 million times in one day weekend.
Correct. So from his I think Rabbi Gansfried knew what it said in Shulchan Aruch very well. The fact that he chose to leave out the eitzah, the advice of repeating it 90 times in a row, is, I think, his way of saying, don't do it.
Even with the Evid. In other words,
That's a good question.
Because the Alter Rebbe says you shouldn't do it with the Evid. It's okay.
So according to Alter Rebbe, it works with the Evid. Fine, you can do it.
But
Well,
according to him,
according to the Kitzur, is he leaving it out because he knows human nature would be to do the easy way out, and he doesn't want people to do that, so he doesn't even give that as an option?
I don't know why he left it out. I just know that he did leave it
I
out.
just want to say, he's saying if you've done in 30 days, which means you've done, it means you've done 9 times appropriately. I think he's equating the two. I'm not sure why
Think so?
why you're pushing this game with 90.
Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right.
He's saying by definition, if you did 30 days worth, you did 90 times at least.
I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying.
Maybe later on he doesn't mention it again.
I hear. I'll call upon him. That is
Except if you've done it 90 times, you could include it both ways.
that's what I think. Mir is giving another way of understanding it.
Oh, just if you emphasize 90, then you know it's 30.
Meaning both. He emphasizing 30 days. I think that he's preferring the 30-day approach as opposed to the.
I think he prefers the 30-day approach. He could have said something like, if you said it for 30 days, or if you said it 90 times in a row, just like the Aruch says.
Or that if you've already said it 90 times, which would include both ways. Doesn't have to specify. You said it 90 times. You infer that either way works.
Yes, I mean, that's the Shulchan, right? Shulchan says,
Tishim Pamim,
Tishin Pamim.
Neged 30 Yom.
Why can't
The
it?
he means you said it 90 times in a row. Right? That's what he's saying, 90 times in a row. Otherwise, what is he telling you 90 times for?
Right.
Why is the
90 times.
Shulchan telling you 90 times?
That's what you're going to do in 30 days.
No, because I don't think so.
Okay.
Because we already had in Sifhei. No, it's not Sifhei, I'm sorry. Where is it? It's in Sifches. Ad shloishim yoim b'chetzah shehizkir HaGeshem v'tzarla. Just story shloishim yoim, 30 days. Come on the Siftes. What I have Chasam test here, right? Yeah. Sifches in source number 3, Shulchan Aruch. Let's look at it again. Let's read it again. What?
Siftes.
What does Sifches say? In the summer, he's going to HaGeshem love. Ad shloishim yoim, no mention of 90 tefillos. 30 days, you have 30 days that after, up till 30 days, there's a chazaka that you said whatever you said previously. After 30 days, there's no mention of how many times you davened in 30 days. Everybody knows basic math. Right? There's no mention of it. Come Siftes. Oh, I'll tell you something new. In Siftes, that if you said it, Tishim Pe'omim, which is Keneged Shloishim Yom Shod. That's corresponding to the 30 days. That works. That's the Chiddush of Siftes. And the Ramon Siftes says by that adds that in for, because Siftes is talking, and the Mechaber is talking about Pesach. The Ramon adds the same thing is in Shmini Atzeres. But that's 90 times in a row. My deal might not be correct on the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. Might not be a correct deal.
No, but it seems like
Lil Moedani Sarich, no.
but it seems like
I think that it says something
because of the second
that he didn't stipulate 30 days or 90 times. The Alter Rebbe, look at Alter Rebbe, source number 7. He brings clearly in Sifyad Aleph. Im b'yom harishon, it's directly from the Shulchan Aruch, right? Im b'yom Siftes, and the Shulchan Aruch Sifyad Aleph and Alter Rebbe. Im b'yom harishon shal Pesach Omer berachas Ata Givar Omer Top B'ad Bichlal Oy b'Medinas Eilu and Mechal Kachayim, whatever it is, but Bichlal. Tishim Pa'amim. Here maybe Lou, this maybe addresses your question. Harei nisragel l'shoinoi loymar rav l'yoshim yirdatol. Oy rav whatever you say. Nisragel l'shoinoi. You became accustomed. Your lashon, your tongue, became accustomed. Your language, huh?
It's habit. It's a habitual.
This is a habitual thing. So this is the 90. So the Alter Rebbe says clearly 90 days. Kilu Omar Kain Lamed. Look at this. Kilu Omar Kain Lamed Yoim. Shulchan Aruch doesn't say that. The Alter Rebbe Mamish spells it out. It's as if you said it for, so the Iker really to say 30 days. Zok the Shulchan Aruch, you could do 90 times. Zok the Alter Rebbe, what does 90 times accomplish? 90 times means it's Ki'ilu Omar Kain Lamed Yoim. Why? Shabalamed Yoim Mezachol Gamkein, Eino Amar Latari Pamim, Gimel Pamim. You say 90 times 3? Gimel Pamim Bechol Yoim. V'im Hogo Kshoimer Mufuzarin Mufuzarin. If you are accustomed to say the correct statement Mufuzarin and in intervals, so all the more so if you said it in a row. Like the ox that gores 3 times in a row, you know this is a dangerous ox. Don't fool around. Don't mess around with it, right? If after you said it 90 times, you don't remember. I don't know. You have a chazaka already, says the Alter Rebbe. Chazaka shelo yizkiru. The answer of Lachso. The Chayin Mishna Tzeres, Omer Tzadik, same thing Mishna Tzeres. This is not from the Ramah. You said it 90 times. Atagi Rad Bari HaGeshem, Bichlal. Be'achag stopping in Hizir HaGeshem. Now you're not sure that I mentioned Mashiv, but you said it 90 times, and the Alter Rebbe is teaching us. He's flushing it out. The Rebbe many times when he would refer to the Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch, he called it L'shoinoi HaZohav, his golden language that he uses, because he mamish spells it out, and he puts together all the sources. He gives you the explanations. So then, Chazaka Shizkira. So Chazaka, you said it. Why? Because he said before, Nisragel L'shoinoi. You become accustomed to saying it. Ki'ilu Omar Kain Lamed Yoim, as if you said it 30 days.
You also mentioned, I guess going back, there was some source that said if you daven the Alma 3 times,
Yeah.
then it's shortened to 18.
Yeah.
Which would mean
18 days. Yeah,
they're
no.
not some point. And if you get away with it in 18, you're getting about the difference between 90 and 30.
That's a
days.
good point. That's a good point. You could maybe say, that even there, we're not playing a trick. So it's not a trick. You can do it's not a trick. God forbid. We're not cramming it into 10 minutes. It's still spread out. And the fact that you're repeating it day after day after day. So for a standard person, 30. I guess that's the. This is not just a chazaka of like chazabatim. The person makes a chazaka in your house or whatever, or a chazaka on this is my seat in shul, whatever it is. Although the Magen Avraham, famously the Magen Avraham Hilchos Tefillah, writes that Daled Amos is Mokum Kavua. I think he writes. So it means if someone comes to you and says, "This is my seat," you can be like, "Yeah, go right ahead, sit right next to me." Magen Avraham. That's also your seat.
It's 4 hours.
4 hours. It's the Magen Avraham.
Even in the cross.
Yeah, maybe. So what's the point? I think that the 18 days, I'm just thinking, I don't know for sure. That's 30 days. It's over a period of time. Just because you're the chazan, the opinion says, okay, we know you said it even more. You're even more accustomed to saying it. You don't need 30 days. Meaning, is 30 days like a gezeres hakosov? Is it just like you can't mix milk and meat? Why? I don't know what the Torah says. Is that 30 days? You have to do 30 days. Why? I don't know. Or the 30 days has a certain rationale to it. 30 days has a certain rationale, right? So the 90 times in a row is trying to accomplish the same rationale. And that's how the Shulchan Aruch passes. And the Alter Rebbe brings it here. You could do it. But then, yesh cholkin al zeh, not so simple. Not everybody likes this. And therefore, the Alter Rebbe paskins lechatchila not to rely on the 90 times repetition. But if you did, it works. Just like the Chasam Sofer, who says to say 101 times. He's even more. 101 times. You didn't do like me, didn't listen to me. Okay, 90 is also good. The Shulchan Aruch is 90. I'm going to go against Shulchan Aruch. Maybe something like that. Where was that? There's the Shaarei Teshuva who brings about, you can see part of it in the source, number 4. Shaarei Teshuva. Here, Geshem. Let's read that together. Geshem. This is the Shaarei Teshuva. Geshem Ayin Ber Heitev, who we just saw, it's right next to him. Ayin B'Shut Neide B'Yehuda, that's the famous Neide B'Yehuda, B'Ches Galanda of Prague. Simcha Vav V'Shut Mokim Shmuel, I don't know who that is. Simcha Gimel V'Ayin V'Shalom Tzibur V'Shem Mar Mordechai V'Mishu Shatz Kavua. He's the Shlich Tzibur, not the occasional Shlich Tzibur. Like he davens every tefillah in the shul. Machzir tefillah shachas and mincha, because you don't do repetition by Meir, right? So we're adding now 2 times shachas and mincha. He said it again, and he said it again. So the Maimon Mordechai says, Ela shemafakmek was medina taz b'seif sifkot v'dalad or yimul. Okay, he's unsure. V'ashal mitzibur cause of she'ein ben zeh stila l'dina taz. Okay, whatever. Has a whole discussion about it. Where does it say 18?
No, but you has Yom Sag.
No, I skipped. I said it was more thing. I skipped. But Yud Ches Yom Sagi, 18 days is enough. Why? Because we're adding 2 times a day. Okay.
So
I don't know if that's how we would like. Let's say a guy was. Let's say you were this guy, and you went to the Rav and you said, "Listen, it's been 18 days. I daven shachas and mincha from the Amar. Do I have to repeat? Do we pass it like this? I don't know. I don't know if we pass it like this. Sounds good, Shaarei Teshuva. It makes sense, logical.
Well, the same guy said yes to 90 days and said yes to that. 90 times, and say yes to that. Because you did 90 times.
I think so.
You're doing your 15 days, you're doing an extra 30, right? So in 18 days, you're doing an extra 36. So you should.
So you're same thing with the guy who does it one day, does 90 in one day? You would also be off though?
No, I'm saying if the person says yes to 90 times in one day.
Then you would say, sure. But the person says 90, would say okay to this, but he'd say 90, we say okay to the 90 in one day.
That's a good question.
We're saying.
No, because one is stronger than the other.
Of course, yeah. Like the.
Like the shore, not like the shore, or like the zova. You have to really have to learn the Gemara. To go into the Gemara, and there's a lot. We didn't do the Taz. We didn't. Okay.
We did an hour of law.
Whether we like it or not, we did it. This is the facts on the ground.
So what's the chassidus we can take from this?
What's the chassidus on this? Well, the Maimon we're going to learn, I don't think has much to do with it. Although it probably does because everything has to do with it. I don't know.
It's always doing your
Geshem. Geshem.
Well, no, it's tweeted. It's being constant to doing something over and over again.
Oh, that's very nice.
Changing your habit.
It changes your nature.
Yeah, you go.
That's very
Oh,
nice.
no, but it's also better to be accustomed because then you're accustomed sometimes to stay the wrong thing.
The way to undo a bad habit.
It's a yin and yang.
The way to undo a bad habit is by doing a good habit.
No, but the chassidus is you have to have both. You have to have the accustomed aspect of your Yiddishkeit, and then you have to have also the new aspect
So-
of Yiddishkeit.
I just saw a letter from the Rebbe yesterday. That I hope I'm not going to butcher it, but something like that. That someone wrote to the Rebbe that something about bad habits, I think, like what you're saying. And that they like they can't get out of it. And then it wrote, I'm just paraphrasing from memory because I think something like to say you can't. There's no point in like something like there's no point in doing good things now. Like no point in doing mitzvahs or whatever because you anyway messed it up. Something like that. That would be like someone who goes to the doctor. The doctor says you're unhealthy. I mean, it's okay, great. I'm going to continue to eat unhealthy food. It doesn't make sense. The way to get out of it is to do healthy things. So too, if you're in a bad process, a bad habit, like everybody here is saying beautifully, that the way to get out of it is by doing the good things. But yet it has to be consistent. It's true. It's true.
That's interesting. That's psychologically they said that for every year you did a certain habit, 30 days, 1 month to remediate it. Like they said it with smoking and stuff like that. So there is something about the idea of 30 days.
Very interesting. I don't know the psychology behind it, but yeah, look, I think we know from life experience, right? It's not easy to change. That's for sure. It's not easy to change. And anyway, we should take the 30-day challenge to do mitzvahs, to do good things, to do it, and then also in increments. You just say one tefillah at a time. You're trying to get the night. You just do daven shachris. Good. Now that mincha. Now that might do one day at a time. And you eventually get to 90. Then you'll have a chazaka that this is what you do. You know, like I heard someone say, like, what? Let's say you have a daily, you learn chumash with Rashi every day. You missed a day. Maybe it was 2 days. Maybe it was a week. So now you don't learn chumash with Rashi. Or you say, no, I learn chumash with Rashi. That's who I am. That's what I do. Today I didn't. But that doesn't mean that I'm not that person, right? It's partly maybe psychological, like you're saying, also how you view things. So I don't know. Anyway, anyone else want to add before we wrap up for our halacha? And the mimer we'll have to do another time, God willing.
Well, I think it's important maybe not to gloss over the because you see, like you said, he flushes, he brings over.
So I'm telling you, the real way to appreciate the Alter Rebbe, I don't know if I can say it about myself. I don't think I can. But the real way to appreciate the Alter Rebbe is if you learn the Gemara and the Rashi, the Rambam. You learn the Torah, the Beis Yosef, the Shulchan Aruch, and then you see the Alter Rebbe, the way he brings everything together, and often adds he'll add a little word, a nuance or something. I remember once we were in a Gemara shir in Yeshiva as a Bachar in Yeshiva, Magen shir, but discussing. I don't remember what the Gemara was. I remember what he said though. Discussing a Gemara, and he says, "Let's look in the Achronim. So let's see what the Achronim said." Okay, lots of Achronim, right? I don't know exactly the word, but something like, let's look at the Achron who gives the most clarity to a sugya. And every bacher was like, but we have no idea what you're talking about. He says, no, Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch takes a sugya and puts it together with all the different sides to it, the different coins. And again, often like gives a nuance or adds a word or just says something a little bit differently that shows the way he learns the Gemara.
Yeah, we can't appreciate it unless you feel that.
Can't really appreciate it
right.
Until that. But part of the greatest learning the Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch is that it's unlike the Shulchan Aruch. He doesn't just bring the halacha. The Shulchan Aruch brings only the halacha because he assumes the Beis Yosef assumes you learned already the Beis Yosef, who goes through the Gemaras and discusses everything. But the Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch goes through the sugya and brings different opinions and like this and like that, and we pass on like this and gives you new appreciation. But yeah, really, you have to really go to the sugya to even begin to appreciate it. In any event, thank you everyone very much for coming and learning halacha together with me. We should all remember, we should say the right things at the right time, God willing. And everyone's invited tomorrow night. We're having a Leil Shishi program, learning Torah, food, would be cholent and I don't know, chicken, something like this. We're ordering from somewhere. And little fabrengen with HaGeshem, 8:30 to 10 tomorrow. Welcome to come. You're welcome to tell your friends. Thank you for joining.
We do tomorrow?
You have 10 people.